And um, yeah, I just want to say I'm just like really just I'm just like just so happy right now, just hearing the level of this conversation between everyone here. Rabbi Kuma, Chifa Kuma in Nigeria, he's getting in. It's just this is Mashiach.
Thank you, thank you.
And well, so it ties into what I'm saying. Is, you know, it's relatively brief. So we learned from Rabbi Pinchas this idea of the bris milah, and how the bris milah is not just a simani, meaning that like, okay, this, you have a bris milah and then there's a siman that you're in the covenant of Avraham, but it's much deeper than that. The bris milah itself determines how we perceive time, space, and motion, reality around us, right? This is the bris milah does this, and the damage that we do with the bris milah determines how we perceive that, or the strength of it determines how we see it. And so when you think about this idea of the tree, right? Now, I said a little bit about it last night when we were just hanging out, but this idea of the tree, a tree itself is one of the only entities that exist in nature that the whole function of the tree is that it goes against gravity. It goes against the perception of space. It goes against the perception of time, because so much of how in motion, right? And so much of how we perceive reality is influenced by this effect of gravity, right? Gravity is there, weighs us down. But the thing that's interesting about gravity is only controlling this particular aspect of this world, Olam Hazeh. But if you go higher, if you go outer space, there's no gravity, right? So arguably you could say, how much is gravity a reality, or how much of gravity is actually an illusion, right? We're just getting started. Just getting started. We're just getting started. But this is the idea. This idea of gravity, how much of it is reality and how much of it is illusion? Because Hashem shows us two aspects of the same world we're living in, with like Jeffrey Bezos and all these guys. They got on this space thing and they went outer space for a little bit, right?
And Elon Musk is the first one to make spatial travel affordable for people. It started.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to start giving welfare for space travel. Yeah. But the thing is, come and get your check for space travel. But the point is the same. It's this idea of saying that like the difference between the world that we live in that's completely controlled by gravity, and then the world that's above that is very, very thin. And we're exploring that now. So trees, dynamic, they grow against gravity. So what's the reality? You see a flower grows up, but it eventually turns a certain way. You know, even us as human beings, animals, we still kind of like hunched over in a certain way, right? So this idea of a tree is going against gravity. And not only is it going against gravity, a tree is constantly in a state of sharing, right? We get oxygen from a tree, right? The living function of everything is tree, and then the tree gives off these leaves, and the leaves are normally, you know, at their best state, they're green. Yeah, green, you know, could be a connection to Bina. Who knows? I don't know. But the point is, saying you have that, and then it also gives fruits, right? Sometimes it gives fruits. It's not limited to anything, but the point is the tree in different capacities based off of the climate, based off what's going on, it's in a constant state of sharing. And so we could deduce from that is this idea of Mashiach, right? Because it's not necessarily about the whole world necessarily being Jewish per se, but it is about the whole world being under the reshus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through his Torah. And our whole goal with this idea is to be able to see a reality where people are connected to Hashem, where every single person is able to talk to Hashem, Every single person can see whatever they're dealing with in their life as being a byproduct from Hashem. Like the fact that like we're sitting in these chairs right now. We're comfortable. That's Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Or even the idea we have this amazing Suda. Thank you, Hashem. The fact that the universe and the whole galaxy is in a particular angle right now, and there's a particular Shefa that's coming down into this world right now, and by acknowledging it, and by having a Suda, and by doing brachot on the peril, these different things, thank you, Hashem. So it was this idea of being able to think about this concept of what it is to bring Mashiach, because there's trees in every single part of the world. Every aspect almost of square inch of planet Earth, there's some type of a tree mechanism. It's a palm tree, then a rainforest, you know, you're in the desert, you have cactus, you have all these different types of expressions of entities that are growing against gravity. So the question is, what is Hashem trying to say to us on this new year? This new year of the tree. Is it dafka about the tree? Because there's many other forms of creation we could connect to, right? And even the tree itself, as people say, the tree itself, this is like during the winter, right? This is during the winter. This is the time where trees are the least bit manifest, right? But they say this is the time where the roots of the tree start to grow. And from the roots starting to grow, there's even certain sap, what do they call it? The sap, yeah, what do you call it? Sieve, coming from the tree, right? And as someone said, I think maybe it was Benjamin was saying, and this full amalgamation, this full creation of that comes during Pesach, you know, the 15th, the spring, the beginning of this new reality. So the idea I just wanted to just focus on is this idea of what it means to bring Mashiach, what it is, like what does the world have to look like in order for the Mashiach to come? And I would say that we could learn a lot from this tree, is being able to teach people that the confines, the way that you perceive reality, the world around you, you go outside, you see this world around you, you have to, learning the Sod, you'll see that that perception that you had before you learned the Sod was limited. Because the true reality is that there is no gravity holding us down. There's nothing that's stopping us. People have lives and they have certain experiences in their life. You know, they may have experienced different traumas, different things, different problems that they've had in their life. And because of that trauma, they perceive that they can't do this, they can't do that. And I heard someone say something about imagination. Imagination is the precursor to reality. Whatever we can imagine can be done, or if we wouldn't have the ability to imagine it. Whatever we see, if we could imagine a world where everybody sees God inside of each and every one of us, no matter where you're at, Christian, Jewish, Buddhist, atheists, anybody on planet Earth, that we can see God within them. We can see that whatever they're struggling with is godly. Whatever their limitations are is godly. And if we could imagine that reality, then we're imagining the true purpose of why Hashem gave us the Torah. Because Hashem gave us a Torah to see a world where no one is starving, that no one could ever go to war with another person. Why? Because that's Hashem. How can I go to war with you? You're Hashem. You're an expression of Hashem. How could I want to say something negative about you? You're Hashem. You're God. I'm going to say something bad about Hashem? That's just like saying something bad about you. You know, we think about kids and all around the world, you know, sometimes kids steal things from the store, right? God forbid they do it. But the reality that we want to get to is that kid says, if I take this and I didn't earn it, then the energy, the light that's connected to this item is gone. There's no Shekhinah. So this idea of looking at the tree and looking at this idea of going against gravity and looking at this idea of being in a state of constant sharing, this is something that every human being on planet Earth can connect to. And even more than that, I heard this one rabbi in LA, I had a good relationship with Rabbi Jadidi. He said like this, he was talking about like LA and LA traffic, right? because traffic is crazy. It's crazy here too, actually, by the way. But he said, talking about LA traffic, and he was saying, like, you know, he's like, you buy a fancy car, you go buy the best car, most expensive car, right? 180,000, 200,000. You're still gonna be sitting in traffic. But he says, but you know who never sits in traffic? The ambulance. Why does the ambulance never wait in traffic? Because the ambulance is going to help and save others. And so this idea of the tree is a reminder of what the world that we need to build. We need to build and empower as many people to understand that they have the ability to go against whatever gravity, whatever's pulling them down in life, they have the ability to go against it. That's our job, to teach people. That's our job, to sit down with them and explain to them, not for them to become Jewish. If they want, okay, they have those sparks, they're gonna do it on their own. But our job is to teach people how to go against gravity, and only way that you could go against gravity is by being a sharer.
That's wonderful. Thank you. That's